Hi, I'm Walker Lott, and welcome back to the Texas Private School Podcast. Today is special because I'm joined with three coaches, all from the same district, so that's going to be a good time. I'm joined with Coach Roby, secondaries coach, track coach, and also head recruiting coordinator at Argyle Liberty. I'm also joined by Coach Williams, assistant coach and recruiting coordinator over at Plano John Paul, and also Coach Sublet, defensive line coach and also recruiting coordinator at Parish Episcopal. Appreciate y'all coming on, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So let's just dive straight into it. So, if you didn't know, like I'm guessing all saw the Dallas Morning News article that came out the other day about how there's now a staple of having a recruiting coordinator basically at every single school. And it's now like just how it is because it's important now. So I'm guessing I'll start, Coach Roby, you can start and then everyone else can add afterwards. But, just what is it what is being a recruiting coordinator, and why do you think it's now so important to have one at a high school nowadays?
I think that why is it important to have one right now in the high school? I think just because of the lines got blurred. You know what I mean? With recruiting services, with parents, with direct line recruiting, all that type of stuff. I just think that now you got a one-stop shop. You got somebody speaking for the kid, letting them know the ins and the outs about what they need to be saying, what they do, the do's and don'ts on Twitter, the do's and don'ts on any type of social media platform. I think that is just I think that's just a must because some kids just don't know. So you have to inform them, you have to give them and let them put out their best foot forward so those coaches can understand them, truly understand them, and not, like a character of themselves, because they're going to put, I'm little Zay XYZ, you know what I'm saying, as their handle or whatever that it is. And you got to make sure that, they got to be able to find you. They got to be able to talk to you. You got to represent yourself in a certain type of way so they can actually fall in recruiting love, as I say. And why does every school need it? I just think it's I do all sports. So I don't just do football. I do all the girls side. I do from equestrian to swimming to football. So I just think it's a program builder. I think if you can walk in and you can sell yourself and sell your school, boys and girls, to the family that's walking in your halls, and let them know that we're not just going to take your money. We're actually going to promote you and want you to get money and receive money, so you can go and play at the next level. I think that is just a program builder, all the way. So,
absolutely. Y'all have anything else to add?
No, Coach Roby did a good job, man. The recruiting coordinator component is just to help because every position coach, I coached public school for 10 years, so every coach is not available to meet. Yeah. Every head coach is not available to meet. Everybody's job description and duties vary. So you just need a go-to guy. And some people how I ended up getting into it is my head coach was always in meetings and always had somewhere to be. And I was the guy that I had a computer lab and my room was available. So it was just about being available for the most part. And I just took it and ran with it, man. I know all the levels. I know all the kids. I know what people are looking for. And it's just good to have a point of contact, man. Everybody has a landline and has a head coach's office. What's the chance of you calling that and getting somebody? Good luck. You know what I'm saying? So you need somebody to just a go between, man, and then you'll keep your head coach abreast of what's happening and any updates. And it's pretty cool, man. Because it's a lot. And Lord forbid you have some good kids. You get some good kids, man. It's gonna be somebody gonna be working, Doc, and the head coach don't want no part of it because he got enough administrative duties to do. So they don't mind passing the buck as long as they just kept abreast of what's happening. So it's just a great benefit. Right now, recruiting is the only thing. Kids are transferring for recruiting reasons. People think they're chasing state titles. They're not. They're chasing scholarships. So if you ain't got no recruiting coordinator and nobody talking on your kids' behalf and representing your kids and trying to put them out, your kid's gonna transfer. You might well get ready. That's just the game. So every school had to get one just to keep your own kids because kids want to be recruited. And it's just a big help, man. It's a big help. But recruiting is the main part of high school sports in general. And Coach Roby has all sports, so he knows exactly what I mean. The golf coach and the golf kid parent, they want their kid to get recruited just like a left tackle. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say my kid ain't gonna get recruited because I do swimming or I don't do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just needs to be covered. And it's easier to have one go-to person. It's hard to find a guy that knows about every sport, but somebody needs a point of contact because kids play AAU, kids play select, so people kind of know about stuff to get seen and get their name out. But if somebody has a question, they can't chase down your league or your team, but they can always find your high school.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Coach, those two guys did pretty good. Do you have anything else to add on that?
Man, I would say those guys are pretty spot on with everything they said, to be honest with you. And I kind of got into it just helping the family, kids that I knew that needed help with recruiting, right? And then started working for John Paul. And like he said, you got some talented kids and you're going to be busy, right? And the head coach doesn't have time with all the administrative duties.
Okay.
And so, it's fun for me because I like seeing kids get opportunity, right? Opportunity to go play at the next level, no matter what level that is. But just knowing that you're helping them. And the main thing is go get a degree, right? So I just like helping kids get to that next level. And so that's really why I got into it. And it's really just taken off over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll piggyback on what Coach said also. Say, whenever he said you're doing it to be, I was taught to be a buffer for the head coach. So instead of that head coach receiving those emails from that parent saying little Timmy, who's a third string corner, that is, you know what I'm saying, he's not getting recruited like my 5-star corner.
Tell me about it.
So then now it's, hey, these are the steps that we're taking. And we're going to let the recruiting process play itself out. We're not going to be any dream killers. But now instead of that head coach answering that email at 2:30 at nighttime because parents were thumb thugging it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Then we can bring you, then you can come to us and then we'll handle it accordingly and buffer that energy into, hey, let's go to some camps, or hey, let's have you filled out any of these questionnaires, or do you have a social media imprint or anything like that? So I think we are a buffer to the head coach. I just wanted to piggyback on that because he had mentioned that earlier, and that is the honest to God truth. I mean, that's how I go into it every day. Like, how can I be a service of that head coach so they don't have to answer those emails from those angry parents about their kid not getting recruited,
Everybody's D1, right?
Exactly. Going off of that and how, recruiting is such a difficult thing because you have to worry about some kid, because some people don't know their levels, I guess, of their talent. I guess that's the biggest thing. And one of the struggles of someone who had the talent this year might have not gotten it because of the pandemic this year. Coach Williams, you can start us off. How hard was it recruiting getting these kids out there to colleges in a time where this pandemic has really hurt recruiting because of everything going on in college football, of the transfer portal, guys staying back another year. So it's just hurt a lot of guys who could have went D1, low FCS, having to choose those smaller routes. Just talk to me about that and how bad this has hurt, and more even that. Do you think it's going to be something that's going to affect college football maybe for this 22 class as well?
All right, so I'll start with the first question. Yeah, I think it hurt a lot of the kids because they didn't get to have a spring where coaches come by, evaluate, see them in person, move around. That definitely hurt a lot of 21 guys, right? Especially if you didn't have any offers going into your senior year, or just having a lot of conversation with coaches. If you had offers, it helps some to have some, have some insurance is what I call it, right? But
right.
It hurt a lot of 21 guys, and I see it affecting the 22 guys as well, the way it is, because a lot of schools are just recruiting the transfer portal, right?
Absolutely.
22 guys, same way as I told my 21 guys, commit and find your home, get you some insurance, and if something else better comes along, then take it, if that. But you can't go see campuses unless you go see it on your own. You can't really go talk to coaches and be involved and the whole nine. So COVID really, really messed up a lot of things for the 21 kids. But you see it affecting some of the 22 guys as well. Some they're finding out their offers may not be committable, right? And so they got 15 offers, but really only have 2 committable. So now you got to choose between those 2 because those schools would rather commit or rather recruit the portal versus you. I get it. They want experienced guys who've already played at the level. So it's affecting 21 class, but it's also affecting the 22 class as well.
Absolutely. Coach Sublet, you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, COVID did take everybody pretty much down a tier. If you wasn't, it's very hard to be a senior blow-up guy. That's very hard to do. And this year was not the year for that. So a lot of kids that would have actually put up some numbers and had an opportunity for a higher level didn't this year. So beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I always tell my kids to like who like you. Appreciate and be thankful for all offers. Because the schools you talking to, you don't know where those coaches gonna end up. And the transfer portal did not help. That was the biggest thing that hurt the recruiting. Not that the coaches couldn't come see the kids live, versus trying to figure out if a high school kid is his actual size or his actual speed. They gave everybody the transfer. They could transfer and everybody got a waiver. So the coaches didn't have to sign off. So versus guessing if the high school kid is legit, you just get your transfer kid. Right. And the coaches took advantage, man. Because they was behind the 8 ball, and you rather miss taking on a kid from another program than a high school kid. Yeah. But guess what? There's some FCS schools that's finna roll, Doc. There's some D2s that's finna roll. There's some kids. There's some schools that's got some great kids, some hardworking young guys, and the kids are gonna be mad because they always want to go bigger. That's fine. But there's some kids that's not going to FBS, that's going to smaller schools. They're gonna be all conference kids.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's gonna work out. So they still can get you can still get the destination you wanted. You just had to go a different route.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to get them to see it that way because they're 18. And everything is instant and right now. Everything is likes, everything is instant gratification. They don't understand going to a bigger school sounds good and it looks great on signing day, but it's a hard reality, man, to not play, for you to be the man in high school and not play and be a redshirt sophomore. Absolutely. That's a real conversation, and people ain't having that talk.
Exactly.
You know, people don't never have that conversation. Yeah, man, you just need to chase the logo. Man, go chase some stats. Get on the field. If you're not gonna play college, it's a hard lesson learned to go watch college football versus playing it. Class is a lot easier, you know what I'm saying, when you're playing on Saturday versus you just standing there with a warm-up on and you ain't getting no burn, because then you're gonna transfer. So it's actually gonna work out. The kids did end up going to a lower level, and it's unfortunate. You hate it, but they're gonna be better for it in the long run. They don't see it now. They will when they're 25. They appreciate it. Because like I say, they're going to be out conference. Them kids they're going to put up numbers because they actually was a little bit better than actually where they landed. Some FCS non-scholarship schools, they got some kids that they ordinarily wouldn't have got. Division II really cleaning up. Division II not mad at all. They finna go try to win the national championship, getting these kids they getting. It's some NAIA schools that's going to go over the top because 2 years ago or last spring, you wouldn't have never even had a meeting with that kid, and now he's coming to your school.
That is so true.
So it's different, man. But they're 18, they don't see it now. When they're 25, they appreciate it. Like I say, some of them gonna put up some records. They'll put some numbers up versus going to a bigger program because it glittered and not playing.
Absolutely. Coach, you have anything to add on that?
I'm in the same way. I think that you have to always think about the name on the back of the jersey instead of the name on the front of the jersey.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, that's going to be the one that's getting that diploma. You know what I mean? It doesn't say Baylor University. You know what I'm saying? Even though it does say Baylor, but the main point of the thing is for your name to be on there. So, it did hurt. How did we adjust to it? I just think we try to, just like any other time, you adapt, because that's what coaching is, right? It's finding new ways to get your point across. It's finding new ways to show your kids drills or anything like that. So it's the same way in recruiting. Whenever they shut that thing down and they wasn't any more in person, so then we went to Zoom. We set up Zoom calls, you know what I'm saying, in the classroom, and our Twitter, you know what I'm saying, stuff went through the roof. just about because Twitter's like the wild wild west. You know what I mean? So they can
Absolutely.
they can get on there and they can follow a coach and talk to a coach and. So I just think that you adapted and you found different ways. One of the things that we did is we made sure that for a coach to figure out how fast they were or anything like that, then we start doing drills and start filming them from behind. They're in warm-ups. So whenever they're in they're not in their pads, if we were just early or something like that, then we were filming them with an iPhone, you know what I'm saying, and letting them see how their hips were moving, letting them see how they broke down route or anything like that. So we just got creative about how we were filming. And then also I got really creative about like how we were putting that product out. I knew that everybody was going to be on Twitter. I knew everybody was going to be on Instagram. I knew everybody was going to be on TikTok. So then I went back to, all right, what is the meat and potatoes of this that they're not everybody's going to be using, because everybody was thinking social media and having a social media footprint. So I just went back and I went to this place called this app called Placed, where it was a one-stop shop. So with that one, we built a player profile, right? We put their grades in there. We put their height, weight, everything got Nike certified as far as like their 40 time, and it was all Spark certified and all that type of stuff. And so instead of us sitting there sending out 15 emails, now I can see exactly where they put their energy into, right? So I could see if they were not calling back or not writing back 3 or 4 of these people that were showing them love. Like y'all said, I want you to go to a place that actually loves you back. So I can see on that app exactly, who are they spending their time with? If they're writing a school that hasn't wrote them back, then I'm letting them know that like, hey, this other school is over here showing you a whole bunch of love and you haven't even wrote them back or sent them any time of the day. And that's going to be a problem at the end, right? Because those people will move on. So we just got creative on the ways that we were trying to do things and outlets that we were using to put the kids in the best situation to put themselves out there. And then also, I think we went to and got another level of family buy-in when it came to this, because they saw that their kids couldn't go to those camps.
Yeah.
Some of those camps, some of those coaches, I know you guys have the same thing. Some of these camps were saying that our 21 guys were offer guys, you just got to come to camp. Well, when those camps got down, now you're not an offer guy. You know what I mean? Because they needed you in place. They needed to see you face to face. So how do we do that? How do we get you to build this relationship with this coach where they're comfortable bringing your name to the table? Because ultimately, that's what it is. I know they're gonna hit with that transfer portal guy. We felt it like no other this past year, but also, did we do a good enough job building that relationship with that coach? Were we answering DMs? Were we emailing? Were we calling? Were we texting? All that type of stuff, just to show that they loved us and that we love them. And then ultimately, you got to look back at yourself in that mirror and sit there and see if you did that. You know what I mean? So
right. And kids responding is plays a huge part in this process. I know I only had like 14 seniors this year, and then I had a handful of like younger guys, but I had a couple of seniors that just missed opportunities, man, because they wasn't responding.
Yep.
I say, man, the people that DM'd you twice, the coach is telling me you haven't responded. Coach, I did respond. If the man told me you didn't, there's no way you did.
No way.
You know what I'm saying? And I believe in answering all coaches. I answer any DM. I'll answer any message from any coach. So if I'm doing the leg work, it's disrespectful on your behalf for them people to reach out because they showing you love. Oh, coach, I won't go to no school like that. Well, I mean, that's fine. I hear you. Just long as you know that's an opportunity.
Coaches get hired to get fired, man. That's a name of that's a on repeat around here. So you never know where that Division II coach is going to be. You never know where that Division I coach is going to be. You just never know, because we get hired to get fired. That's just the name of the game.
Right. Exactly.
We're going to get hired and we're going to pack up, you know what I mean, sooner or later, whenever they give us the boot and our key fob don't work, and then we're going to go somewhere else. So you better be mindful, you know what I mean, about how you treat, you know, these people, because as you can see, coaching isn't about nepotism, man. You know what I mean? It's about who you know. And if these guys are going and doing these camps before, they're sooner or later, they're going to break through. So you better be nice to, you know what I'm saying, these coaches that are on these lower levels, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think let's like going into that more. I like that topic, so I want to dive deep into that really more. So I think 100% I agree with that. A lot of these guys didn't get the ability to do the camp circuit this summer, which was hurt a lot of these kids getting in front of these colleges. One, just how important is because this is also for, you know, y'all all experience and your kids at your schools trust you 100%. But this is also for kids that are, you know, who are Division 3, Division 4, who listen to this podcast and just want to see whatever I can do. So what are your advice to those camp circuits? Like, I remember when I was in high school, I knew about camps, but I never was like, well, that is not that big of a deal. Like, talk to me about how huge this camp circuit is, and yeah, just talk about that.
I got you. Shoot, man, I could do a little something on the camp circuit. Camps are good. The camps are good, but camps are not necessarily for every kid.
Right one.
They want, right?
Just like when we're talking about levels, at some point you're going to have a very real conversation. Because everything is about optics. It's some kids that's good football players that's going to be terrible camp kids.
They don't test.
I've seen a kid have 12, 15 offers, go to a camp, run a bad time, and lose all his offers.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because some kids are good football players and you're not good camp kids.
That's true.
The lower level kids, it's always good to be seen. But if you're an FBS type kid, your numbers should be at least decent. But most of that stuff is technical. So as a coach, your job is to put your kid in the best situation. I've had kids go to camp. I don't have my kids run because I know they're not runners, but they can cover and they're fluid. So it's all about putting your kid in the best position to be successful. If a kid really want to go to camp and he's adamant, let him go to camp, but just tell him, like, you have to kind of almost like be careful, because if you go there and you run a bad time, I know everybody is enamored with all of the big name camps and you want one of those invites. On all of those invites, they going to tell you to run a 40. Everybody's not a 40-dash kid. They going to tell you that, but they going to tell you in order to get the grade, you going to come run the 40. So you going to go out there and run your 5-1. Now your tape is obsolete because you ran bad. They don't care about the weather, the cleats, you slip. They try to hear none of that. It's going to be that time, and they're going to send that data. Once you put that data that's bad at an Under Armour or a Nike or the Open, that's gold. That's the standard. That's email to everybody. They don't open all of our DMs. They don't open all of our text messages, but they pay attention to all that data from that camp. So it's just being smart. Go to a camp at a university in front of those coaches so they can see you. That way, you're being coached by the coaches that like where you could potentially go. Don't go to the big name camps. And some of them are free. But again, if you're not a test kid, you're not going to test well. That stuff is technique. That stuff is not just really, it's not black and white. But if your kids don't know how to run a 40 and you just run plays and you know they don't have no trainer, the kid not going to run well. He could be a good player in your scheme and he going to go mess up. He going to go blow it off because he going to run a bad time because he didn't know what he was doing. He going to pop straight up. He going to get out late. And once that time is, like I say, they don't read all our DM. Everything that Nike and Adidas and Under Armour seeing, they open. They looking every time on there.
Right.
And once it's out, you done. It's hard to come back from it. And it's just being smart, man, and just putting your kid in the best position to be successful. Find you a D2 camp. Find you a camp where it's going to be kind of schools from all levels and hit one. Don't want to go to the mega camp. The mega camp is, there it's all football is always good to get experience and get work. But again, you have to be smart and be selective. You're not going to go to every school. So find schools that fit your body type, fit your style. Like some kids are only 3-4 kids. Some kids are only, you know what I'm saying, 3-4 D linemen. So you can't go to a school that run a 4-3 and you ain't no pass rusher because you really an interior guy. Yeah, if your coach missed it and the kid missed it, you set the kid up for failure.
Failure.
That's on you. That's not on that kid. He couldn't be successful. Just like a kid that's not a camp. Now, if a kid is not a fast kid, and there's fast football players that's not fast 40 times. So if a kid ran a bad time and he's running by people at the camp, he can kind of come back from that. But that data's still going to be there.
Right.
But if you don't have any tape and you just set a camp, if you go out there and mess it up, you don't it's a lot of work on somebody to try to come up with. I mean, the coach, it's hard when they get them bad numbers, coach. Because ain't nobody gonna return your call. It's not an indication of me that I don't know because the kid could actually play at the level. He just got a bad time. So they'll look at it, but it'll be at the last minute. He's not an early offer kid. That's why it's important for young guys to pay attention. Pay attention. It's always about the kids behind you. They ain't your class. That's why you talk to everybody and be respectful. Coaches are gonna go back to schools that they're well received. If your recruiting coordinator ain't talking to them and ain't responding, and your kids ain't going to camps and your kids ain't being seen, the colleges ain't gonna come by your school.
Right.
It ain't hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just has to make sense. And a lot of times logic is not involved. Everybody think bigger is better. But if you're aiming for Big 12, you can follow FCS. You can't aim for FCS, then you're gonna fall at the house. So, it's just having perspective. But it takes experience. It takes experience, man. It's recruiting is tricky. It's not exact science. There are gonna be kids that with Shofar D1 and he going, and don't nobody call you. And then a kid who really didn't like it, man, that kid ain't that good. Well, you got to remember that's based on potential. And he ain't ready yet. So he's going to be about another 45 pounds, maybe another 2 inches. And then you don't know what position because he's playing DN or linebacker for you. He might not play that for college. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of stuff that go into it. And people just think, well, I just let a guy do the recruiting. No, man. If you don't have nobody doing recruiting that know what they doing, Gonna be looking sad on signing day, buddy.
Absolutely. Coach Roby Williams, you have anything else to add on that?
Personally, you get a lot. I'm kind of piggyback. If you got offers, if you're one of my kids, you're not running at a camp. Simple. There's no point for you to run. I said no, you're not running. But I tell a lot of kids, don't go be a donation. You're gonna go to a Baylor camp, a Texas camp. You're not gonna play there. You're just getting a T-shirt. You're paying your money, wasting your parents' money, gonna get a T-shirt for a workout. Be more realistic about the camps you're gonna go to. If you haven't been talking to the coaches, they invite you to the camp. You'll notice when you get there who they paying attention to the most when you get to these camps, especially America camps. They want to see, right? You're there in line, you're getting a workout, and that's all you're gonna get. You pay $40, you got a T-shirt, you got to take pictures with a coach, maybe talk to them afterwards, but you're a donation. And so I tell kids to be realistic and kind of attack camps on the ones who kind of showing you love. You're getting a lot of attention from a coach. Hey, I'm gonna be at this camp. I want you to come. I want to see you. You've been having conversations. Go to that camp, but don't just go to a Texas camp, right? And you're 5'8", you're 4'9", and you play receiver. It's like, don't go.
Don't just show up at the camp. But that's being smart though, because kids don't know.
Right.
They're just signing up. That's why it's important to have somebody for them to kind of ask. We are buffers for the head coach, but the recruiting coordinator really serves a good purpose, man. Because that's the mainstay for all of the programs, man. Everybody wants to be recruited, and as a parent, man, you just want somebody that wants your son. The big schools are nice, and it always sound better. Them logos and them shirts easier to find at the store than a small school. But at the end, man, you just want somebody to want you. You just want somebody to want your son. So to have that opportunity is a blessing, man, for any level. They don't see that. They will, like I say, when they get a little bit older, but it's fun and it's definitely necessary, man. You have to have somebody to do recruiting. And like you say, respond to messages and answer questions. Like I say, man, coach said you can just show up at a camp and pay $40 and run. That was on, and you gonna run a 4.9. That one you gonna burn gas time, and then you actually go and run a bad time and be mad because then nobody calling.
Right.
Exactly.
They was hating. No, man, you weren't supposed to go.
Absolutely. Coach Robbie, I mean, they pretty much said everything. You got anything else to add?
I'll just piggyback on, like, you know, pretty much what both of them said. I don't allow my kids to go to any camp. Like, what we do is I'll call beforehand. We do more direct line recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Division II guy and that's what the recruiting says that you are, then we'll hit that circuit. And if you're a Division I guy, if they've shown you any type of love for that, we're going right to them. Now we're going 2 hours before the camp because I want you and your parents to go behind the curtains. So I call beforehand and set up like tours and set up stuff like that so they can see exactly what they're dropping their babies off. Because Baylor, I know I've used any big school sounds good.
Right.
I mean, but is it the correct fit? And I heard coach say that, you know, a couple of times when he was talking, is it the right fit? Is it, you know, scheme wise, personally wise, you know what I mean, academically, like all that type of stuff. So we try to call ahead on a lot of things to make sure and let them know that, hey, our guys coming to this camp. Is there anything that we need to do beforehand to make sure that he doesn't have to jump through this burning hoop to be seen? Is it, you know, because they're always doing those camps, they're always going to take a select few field one.
Absolutely.
Take them when they're in the indoor, they're going to take that select few and go outside.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Also, how can we be a part of those people that are going outside to get that real look and not be, like Coach said, and not be this donation to your activities that night, you know what I'm saying, or whatever that we want to pay. We don't want to abs, you know what I'm saying? That's not what we're about. So we try to call ahead and we try to accordingly, and I'm realistic with the kids also whenever they're going through that process. How do they know which camp do I go to? It's the ones that have called you back.
Very true.
That's plain and simple. Like I'm not a dream killer. You know what I mean? Like that's not my job. My job is to breathe life into these young men and these young ladies. So I don't tell them that they're not such and such. Now we may, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We may throw hints. I may throw this alley-oop to you. It's for you to slam dunk this thing, but I'm going to let the recruiting process, you know what I mean? Hey, okay, cool. You want to go to A&M? That's fine. Have they talked to you?
Yeah.
Nah, Coach, they ain't said anything to me, but Sam Houston said something to me. Cool. We going to Sam Houston.
There you go.
I mean, we're going there. We're going to the people that want to see us. So I always call ahead and make sure that I can set up something so that we can be that in that group that goes outside and gets that real look and not stay inside and just run through.
That's good stuff.
It's working out.
Definitely.
I can work you out.
Looking at that, if you're not, how do I say this? So if you're not maybe if you're not the guy that has, there's the big Texas camp, Baylor camp, but like if you're a guy who's not really getting talked to right now, but you want to go out there, maybe not go to a Texas camp because that's not really realistic. But if you go to a small camp here in the I don't know, like Texas A&M Commerce, for example, something like that, where there's coaches there from different things, D3, D2s, stuff like that. Is that something that, if you're not that big time guy, maybe going to something like that is helpful, or do you still think there's other ways to go about it?
I call every single person that's going to be at the camp, and I let them know exactly what he's going to be wearing. It's going to be a Liberty shirt. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have number 12 on the back. Every single coach beforehand is going to put out a list of coaches that are going to be there. And they only send a select few because they only send their 40 guys.
Right.
It's going to be the same exact guys at every single camp there because they may not trust the We can't send in flat times. We can't send in all this other type of stuff. But they got one guy that they trust that's all he does is take somebody at the camp.
Right.
So that could be the same guy that you're going to see at every single camp. So I make sure that I get the guy and I follow that guy and I let them know and I let them know, hey, who's y'all's 40 guy? Who's going to the camps every single time? And then I'm all those coaches, whether it's the big coach, whether it's the big schools, or whether it's Texas A&M Commerce, or whether it's the D3, I'm going to say, hey guys, don't forget my guy. He's going to be there at the Liberty thing. And I'm telling my young men also, because if I can't go with them, which I usually do, but if I can't go with them, then I'm letting them know exactly the steps to go up and take. Hey, no, you go find Coach such and such. He's going to have he's going to have the Texas A&M Commerce stuff on. He looks like this. He's going to be dressed like this. And I want you to go and introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm Ross Roby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's off top, right? And then I want you to go to the next coach and I'm gonna give you a list. So you be preparing on this list that, at the next, whoever the JUCO's there, okay, hey, Coach Parr. Hey, what's up, Coach Parr? Like, how you doing? I'm such from Liberty. Like, so now you're introducing yourself and they know that, oh yeah, Coach Roby, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, he already hit me up. Yeah, I'm gonna look at you today.
Exactly.
I'm calling beforehand and letting them know that if it is one of those big camps, because you never know. Like at those big camps, and like Coach said earlier, and both of them, everybody said this on this thing. If you're not ready to run 40s, if you haven't been through track season,
right,
and we haven't worked on your first steps, if we haven't worked on your draw phase, then guess what? You're not going to do any of these things
at all.
And if you haven't showed up to any of these things, if you haven't showed up to any of our footwork stuff, then I'm going to let you know that you're probably not going to be prepared to go out there and run the routes that they want to see. They want to see top route separation. Can you drop your hips? Can you burst out of that thing? If you're only been working on your straight line stuff and not your change of direction stuff. So there's a progression that, we sit there and we send our kids to camp, but we have a strength and conditioning guy that also does, all of that camp prep. That's what we call it. So if those guys have any of that type of stuff, then we're not telling them. I'm right there with coaches. I'm not telling them, hey, you're just going to shake hands at this point. Right. You can pay that money to shake hands, or you can FaceTime and Zoom call them at the house and save that. Save the gas that you're about to agree. So, but if they are truly want to go to camp, because some kids like to go and compete, and some kids, like Coach said, some kids aren't camp people, but some kids are competitors. They're going to go and shine in the one-on-one drill. They're going to go and they're going to flourish in the 7-on-7, and all that type of stuff. So, it is good for some people, but like Coach said, like if we're not doing our job and letting them know that, hey man, you're not ready for that camp.
Right.
Not a camp for you, then we're doing the service. And most of the time, it's really not the kid. Most of the time, it's the mom and the dad who want that photo op. You know what I'm saying? Twitter to sit there and say, my kid went to X, Y, and Z. Well, your kid wasn't ready to go do that. You just hurt your kid more than you helped your kid by taking them to that thing. Now, I'm always down for moms and dads and grandmas and uncles and all that type of stuff that's going to hit the road. I think that's a beautiful thing, because that means that everybody's equally yoked.
Right.
Everybody's invested. So you're not going to slip up or do anything crazy, you know what I mean? Because everybody's invested. But sometimes you got to save them from their parents and their loved ones. So they're not going into it saying, we're going to Houston, so we got to hit the Rice one up. And on the way, we're going to hit the Sam Houston. And by the time he gets back, he can't even work out and go through summer workouts.
Right.
Agreed.
And then he just going to do the next thing Thursday through Sunday. They're going to do the next thing, because everybody's always going to have a camp. You know, they can overwork.
Moving into another topic, and I think it kind of goes off of that, but so because luckily, guys at your schools, they have y'all and your coaches, that guide you through this process. But for a guy, okay, if he's, in a Division IV school, low school, and their coaches maybe maybe aren't the best at knowing this universe, this area of what to do. So what do you think are you can give your top little 5 things or something like that, or all right, what do you think I need to do to be recruited? because, you can go into grades, get out there through social media. But what if I have to get recruited? What's the best way to put myself out there, and what do I need to do to get myself recruited? So I guess Coach Roby, you can start us off then if you want to.
I would say the first thing I always tell our kids is be consistent on your social media imprint. So what that means is if you're going to a trainer and you're going to, like I say, a couple of our kids go to Flight, and I'm a big fan of that guy, So a couple of our kids go to Flight, or they go to Hooks, or they go to David Robinson, or whatever that they go to, right?
Yeah. I
tell them if you're going to them on Tuesday, then you need to post a drill that y'all do that shows not a glamour shot, not a big old production of like what you're doing. I don't need your mom paying $1,500 to get this, 2-minute clip of you getting. No, just show, hey, I'm here working, because that's going to separate yourself. You're not at home playing PlayStation 5 or doing anything like that. I'm actually hitting the road. I'm actually going to get extra work, and show that same drill every single Tuesday or every single time that you go. And it's going to continue showing that you're going to get better at that drill. So that's going to show consistency. That's just a drop of on my timeline. Hey, this is what I'm doing every single time. And then the second thing is, I would say, make sure that your social media is clean. Yeah. You know what I mean? I talk about that. I mean, I know we talked about that at the beginning, but that is a true thing. Like, what are you putting out there? What are you liking? Who are you friends with? What are you commenting under? All that type of stuff. We tell our kids that if it's not clean, then you don't need to, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't need to be on there. So that's another thing that I think that will get you. And also build relationships, man. Like I heard Coach say it earlier, like you have to DM that coach back. You have to, people just think that it's so easy. And those big guys have it the hardest. Yeah. I don't think it's the smaller guys that have it that, you know what I'm saying, that hard. I think the big guys have it the hardest, because until you're ready to pick your school, they're going to want to build a relationship with you. So you cannot just pick somebody. You cannot just not pick up a phone. I would tell that smaller tier guy, make sure that you are being consistent in everything you do, from your social media to like what is your social media outlet, to that drip that we got on social media outlet, to how we talking to coaches, how we're communicating to coaches. Those are all things that you can do to make sure yourself is getting at least an opportunity or at least a seat at the table. Because if you don't do those things and you just think that it's old school, I'm just going to ball and they just going to come find me, you are in a rude awakening. That is not even going to be close, because the times have changed, and you have to promote yourself and put yourself out there in a certain type of way that it's going to be, you have to separate yourself. There's 15 schools right here on 377. I tell my kids all the time, right? Just on 377 alone, there's 15 different schools, right? High schools, you know what I mean? Like prep schools, all this type of stuff. And they're all winners, and they all want to go play for the same position. So what are you doing to separate yourself? I have to do something. I have to show a coach something that I'm doing to separate myself. So that is going to look like I'm going to get this extra work on Tuesdays. So I got to show that. I got to show my footwork. I'm not saying that you have to oversaturate it. I'm not saying that it has to be an ordeal. I'm talking about a 15-second clip of you doing the exact same drill over and over again for a long period of time. They're going to sit there and say, man, that kid is actually working. And they're going to be able to scroll back and see, man, that kid got better at that drill.
Absolutely.
Some of my kids, well, they go to Hooks, they go to D-Rob, Claymac, and Flight. So that really helps, right, when they're doing the extra training. But what I use that stuff for, say I send their huddle link to a coach, I may show those private clips and say, look how fluid he is, or we're doing one-on-ones, things of that nature. Show my DBs in coverage, watch him, and things of that nature. So it really, really helps. I guess it kind of speak from, I want to say, a personal story. I got a kid, a DB I thought was pretty good, and it was OU DB coach, right? And I said, I showed him the huddle, but his sophomore film didn't really speak to who the kid really, what he could be, right? I showed him some one-on-one clips of him working in private workouts. He's like, oh, okay. I had to explain his sophomore season, he was kind of hurt, he's kind of banged up, but he's out there giving it his all. But now look at him that he's healthy, so you can kind of tell the difference between that. It really sold over, but I do some of the same things with the 15-second clips or short one-on-one sessions or different things of that nature, because it really pays off to see how fluid a kid is, especially since they can't go to camps or anything like that. So social media is really, really big, right? But use it the right way.
The tool.
Get to that point, you can get this coach's cell phone number where you text and build a relationship. That's really going to go far. So continue to build relationships. It's key, because I got some kids that don't even use Twitter. Like, they're on there, but they don't use it. Like,
Yeah,
what are you expecting? What do you think is going to happen? Coaches just ain't going to find you and follow you and start inboxing you. Like, you got to be proactive, right? And so don't look at the next kid thinking, well, they're contacting him. Yeah, but that kid already got 15 offers. So, yeah, other coaches are already coming on board. But you trying to get a coach, you got to be proactive and go sell yourself. So it's huge. But kids don't understand that, and they think it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen.
Yeah,
you got to put in work.
No, you have to definitely put in work, man. And Coach Roby keep hitting on that social media. Coach, that's real life, man. I had a kid that was committed to the University of Oregon. 6'5", 200-pound defensive end, ran a 48, 49 quarter. Great kid, long defensive end on social media. And it wasn't even it was his page, but it wasn't even him. It was his girlfriend. She posted, she doing her thing. He in the video, he standing there with no shirt on looking. And she was doing some extracurriculars. Boom, money gone. Scholarship gone. And that was his dream school. But once he lost his scholarship to his dream school, he kind of lost his own little fire and passion. Started going through the motions, being late. Boom, what do you know? Next 2 games later, he get hurt, tears ACL. He never played, don't even graduate. Like, everything just happened because it just spiraled because of social media. Social media is real, man. It's an interview. You see grown people that's working in society that forgot about what they done is losing their jobs because of social media.
Yep.
You have to pay attention to exactly what you posting, what are you liking, and some of the comments, some of the stuff that it's fun, it's for giggles and stuff, but that don't mean you have to like it.
Yeah.
Even if if you see it, you just have to pay attention, man. You have to be smart. When you're an athlete, it's a target on you. Your school has a target on you. People in the neighborhood, in the community, everybody ain't happy for you now. So you just have to be smart. Being at parties and being seen at stuff. And you want to be likable and you want everybody to like you, man. But you have to pay attention, man. Social media is real, and it only take a second, man. For somebody to just fall out of favor with you. You like the wrong post or say the wrong thing and do a little rant and put it on IG and you done.
Definitely.
You just mad in that moment, or you didn't mean it, or you was mad with that person. Once you go and say it and hit it, somebody go screenshot it. And my daughter is a sophomore in high school. She's a JV cheerleader at a high school, at a 6A high school. And man, and all of the clauses and all of the stuff, they tell you whatever you like, don't like, say, you comment, you in anything, you kicked off the squad. And I told her, I say, hey man, we paid a lot of money for this cheerleading, man. They ain't giving no refund because you hit no button, it's gonna be out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to pay attention, man. But like you said, you have to be intentional. You have to want to be recruited. Like, some kids are in love with the process, and you have to know the difference. Some kids want offers and want the stuff, but you got to let your coach know what you're trying to do. Like, kids that's late to practice, don't be at meetings, always got something to say, and then you the first one at the camp. Well, how you at the camp? You got to show everybody you on the same page.
Right.
And being private school is doubly hard because they got that stigma to it ain't 6A, ain't no players out there. You know what I'm saying? And I've been doing recruiting since 2008. So that's the biggest lie. That's the biggest lie being told. Your level of competition, now it can help if you playing the best in the state. It look good to say that. But how many yards my kid took in how many steps my kid took in 10 yards? And is he moving people off the ball? That's real. Whether we playing 5A or we playing Division I taps. If you moving people and you taking care of business, everybody's in the player for business. They tell you that it's taps when they don't want your kid.
Yeah.
Because I coached inner city for 10 years. So when we had kids that played corner, played safety, played running back, coach, I can't evaluate him. He played too many positions. Well, now I hear that I'm in private school. Well, they like that, man. That's position flex. Now, when I was over there 10 years ago, y'all told me you can't grade him because he do too much. He don't have no position. All of those excuses for when they don't want your kid.
Exactly.
People are looking for football players, man. So some parents get hooked into it, and you can't play tap, but you need to play this. College coaches want players. So if your son is making plays, they'll find you, man. You have to be intentional, and you got to be a good kid. You can't go to an Ivy League camp, and you know what I'm saying, you're making 70s.
Yeah, right.
It ain't gonna die. I mean, it just ain't. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to pay attention, man, and be cognizant of everything that's happening. Recruiting is fun game. Like I said, it's a blessing to be able to help kids go to school, man. We fortunate to be. This is a cool job. But you have to like it, and it's never over because recruiting don't stop. Signing day is Wednesday. People been DMing for a month. They ask for 22s.
Yep.
It's like as soon as signing day over with, you gonna stand there and smile and take a picture, and boom, it's on. Now, some people done already said, "Well, coach, let me enjoy the Super Bowl. You know, after Sunday, we gonna hit it." I said, "Say less. You just send me the DM and you ready, and it's on, Doc."
Exactly.
Because it doesn't stop, and that's another reason that the recruiting coordinator position is so prevalent, because football season is only for 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
What if your team don't go deep in the playoffs? Somebody needs to be sitting your film. Now, it is easier for your kids to get seen if you're making a playoff run. That is a blessing, because the coaches usually would have been able to been out on the road to come see the kids.
It's true.
So it was a very unique year, man. But recruiting is not exact science. Just because you just exact height and weight and you pass the optics, now put some film with it. Show me something. And it has to match up. And that's the thing I think the kids miss the most part, because some kids are big enough, but the kid he really not good enough. And nobody wants to have that conversation. But at the end of the day, man, you just want to give your kids the opportunity to play at some level. Any logo is a good logo. And like you say, man, once you get there, you can make a name for yourself. But if you're aiming for the big schools, you got somewhere to fall. And that's the main thing. Recruiting is not an exact science, like I said. You've seen kids that should have went D2, they went bigger, and vice versa. But it's all a blessing, man. They don't see it now; they'll see it later. They'll be 25 soon, and then they'll know.
Yeah, definitely.
Hug them like, Coach, man, I see what you was talking about. Well, you wasn't gonna see it then. You know, you was mad and fussing. But this is all a blessing, man. The great help. Shoot, man, I appreciate you, man, having me on here, man, asking me. I'm just, I'm just chopping wood, Doc. You know, trying to win, doing a little bit, and I'm gonna have for 12 or 13 on Wednesday, man. And shoot, I got a hot 7 for next year for 22. So whatever that's gonna look like.
Absolutely.
And I just want to go on the record and say, Taps Division I got some of the best talent in the country. I can care less.
So like, one of my questions was literally like, y'all already answered 2 of my questions just by talking, so I really appreciate that. So, like, one of my questions was how important was social media, and I think y'all covered that extremely well. And then the 2 was, do you think private school football is like, the stigma is, oh yeah, it's different. Like I believe, what is it? And Parish was ranked 11th or 12th in the state of Texas by Max Preps this year, and I think Nolan Catholic was ranked 23rd. And they had him over guys like they had Parish Episcopal over DeSoto. I'm just saying. And I've seen DeSoto. I've seen them all. I was like, you can honestly argue, like, you put them 1-on-1, like, it would be a good game. And like, for me, like, being in Fort Worth, like, even though a game didn't happen, when Nolan Catholic scheduled Duncanville for the first game of the season, I was like, all right, let's see it. Like, I want to see it because, everyone else was like, oh, well, that's, why would they do that? But, I mean.
Well, now
I know it is Duncanville. Yes, it is Duncanville. It's D-ville. It's, how it is.
No, but here's the difference, man. I'm gonna clear that. I'm gonna clear that up for you. I'm glad you said it. I just didn't want to be the one to bring it up, but you put it right out front and center. The only difference, and anybody I done coach public school and I done coach private school. Been blessed enough to be a part of 3 state championship teams. Been in 15 years, man. Been tremendously blessed. The only difference between TAPS and public school is the numbers, Doc.
There
football
it is.
Players is flat out ass football players.
Right.
Your kids can't play, they can't play. Now, DeSoto and all that, the San Parish, now we good level on level, but DeSoto gonna sub it. We can't sub. So
there
I'm gonna
it
go
is.
from 6'4"
That is true.
That next one gonna be 5'9", and a big heart. Ain't gonna be no player. That's the only difference between public school and private school is the depth. Because we only have 9th through 12th, we only have like 50 kids. And
Right.
and a lot of 6A schools, they got 110. They
Yeah.
got 120. So
Yeah.
it's not hard to be 1 in 120. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it's harder to be 1 to be a better player per se. But the only difference is the depth. TAPS is good football. TAPS is hard nosed, and we can play with anybody. John Paul, we play good football. Nolan, we play good football. All Saints, we play good football. And everybody can coach. Everybody has good schemes. I ain't gonna take nothing away from nobody. Everybody can coach. Everybody know exactly what they're doing. They got good coordinators. Everybody do a great job. Don't nobody slack on preparation and game planning. It's all about depth. You just don't have no backup.
Right.
Right.
That's the only difference is backups. They can tell you what they want to. You put anybody kids, you put your first lineup and my first lineup, and we look, it's what, Doc. We just ain't got no depth.
There it is.
I think
right.
I think you literally nailed it on the head. Like, I think that's perfect. And I mean, you can't deny it because of the top two of the top 3 players in the state of Texas and all these recruiting rankings are literally private school players. I mean, one in Houston, one in Fort Worth. I mean, and you see it because I think all 3 of y'all have a guy in 22, I believe, is going to be a top. I mean, you have Christian Driver up there in Argyle. You have Terrence Brooks. I mean, as an Aggie fan, I love both of them. Just saying. Anyways, and then, I mean, in the 23 class, Daniel Demary up there at Parish Episcopal, all 3 of you guys are going to have guys who are going to be top 200 players, 150 players in the nation. And I mean, I could go down the list just because I know them off the top of my head. But, like, y'all too, I want to add on it?
No, I totally agree. And I guess I go a step further. And in some cases, when it goes to compared to like the Duncanvilles, competing in the trenches, right? I mean, some of our old linemen, they may be 5'9", 215, right? You go line up against Duncanville.
Right.
But for the most part, like you said, 11 on 11, we can compete with anybody. I dare you, try to go cover, Christian Benson one-on-one in a slot. I dare you, anybody. I don't care 5A or 6A.
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You go against Driver one-on-one.
I hope you got a linebacker out on him. We're gonna get 200 yards.
Exactly. So I dare you to. Our kids drive, like you said, some of the kids we named in TAPS can go to any 6A school and start right now.
Well, I mean,
with no problem.
Well, I mean, the thing about it was Cavante Williams, from Nolan Catholic, right? Just had 6 interceptions on the season. Where did he transfer to? Duncanville. I mean, and come on, the boy gonna start, right? So, like, you're telling me you're gonna go to a state semifinal 6A Division I school and you're gonna start and you played TAPS Division I? I mean, it's absurd.
Right.
I think
same way with the kids that left John Paul last year. The linebacker when it started, the receiver when it started, the quarterback when it started.
Right.
They all went and played.
Back to the point at hand. Let's kind of move away from that. I guess we could talk about this. So in the article I talked about earlier with the Dallas Morning News, DJ Mann, the guy from Cedar Hill, said signing day is my state championship. I could be wrong, but I'd rather send a lot of kids to college than win a lot of football games. Now, you can agree with that or disagree, but how, like, being recruiting coordinators, do you think, like, Like, how is it special to be the guy who helps these kids go to college? And Coach Sublet, you can start us off.
Doing the recruiting and seeing kids on signing day, man, is truly fun stuff. Uh, it's a real thing. And you're so happy for the kids and the families, man. Uh, some of them are first generation college students. And the state championship is hard to win, no matter how good your team is. You know what I'm saying? So, and it could only be one winner for the state championship, but for signing day, it's multiple winners. They all win. And that's all you want is for all the kids to be successful and have a chance to better their lives, better their families. So, and I know DJ. I work with DJ. He's sincere. He's sincere, man. And he really wants what's best for those kids. Like I say, it's hard to win a state championship, and you can't measure success by state championship. If you're in the business of helping kids, which we are, you should want kids at signing day, man, going to college. Mm-hmm. That's what it should be about. And no matter what sport you coach, it's just another way to pay for school. It's an avenue, you know what I'm saying? So you're just giving yourself a better opportunity. Everybody can go to school because we have to, it's a law, but everybody's not going to be the smartest kid there. So playing sports is just another way to help you get to college, which is kind of like the ultimate goal, you know what I'm saying? So you just want to give a kid a chance to be successful, man, and set himself up. They're all gonna be good kids and you know what I'm saying, do the right thing, and being in sports is gonna help that. But you just know getting a degree and getting a good job is gonna help for their family and their long term success. And that's the overall goal. Like I said, in football, in state championship, it's only one winner, but when you can stand up there on the stage, man, you got 12, 15 kids every year. It's giving themselves the opportunity to better themselves. Some of them first generation college students. You can't measure that.
Absolutely. Coach Williams, I know you talked about it really earlier at the very start of this, but do you have anything to add on that?
No, for me, it's really about the kids and the families. Like he said, some of them are first-time generation college students. I just really want to see the kids have success. I always tell them, look, it's a 40-year deal, not 4 years, right? Like you're changing the whole trajectory of your family by going to college and getting a degree, because then you get to set that trend. And when you have kids, hey, I've been to college. Now you want your kids to go to college, right? So it's having that cycle and everything set. It's huge for me. I just like to see the kids get an opportunity to go play at the next level. But most importantly, get a degree, right? And if you go have success at the next level, that's even better. That's the icing on the cake, right? So I enjoy it. No matter what level they sign at, I just like seeing kids have success and have an opportunity to go better themselves and their families.
Absolutely. Coach Roby?
Yeah, same. I love the aspect of the journey. We always do we do wish lists at the right when I get them in 8th grade. Yeah. And hopefully I see them all the way through, or whenever I get them, and to look back on those pieces of paper, you know what I mean, about like where they wanted to go.
Right.
We do a thing, rate 1 in 10, whether you want to be hot or cold, you know what I mean, all that type of stuff. You want to be East Coast, West Coast, and to look back on those things, and then just to see that weight being lifted from those families as their baby signing. And then at that time, they may have been fighting you. They may have been like telling you that their kid is a deep one, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as they sign it on that line, all that doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Like, just to see that joy of them families and to see that joy of that young man knowing that, like, yo, like, I'm a 1%er, man. Like, this is hard, man. Like I take pride. I played college football. I know how hard it is, you know what I mean, to get there. I've seen a lot of good athletes not make it. So whenever I tell those stories about some of the best athletes that I've been around in Salina, Texas, not making it to that next level, and then here I am, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made it to the next level, and to see that now that's going to be a trickle down effect, like Coach was saying.
Right.
And also the fact that, like, they can sit there and look at their parents now and say, thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you for all those day trips. Thank you for taking me to camps. Thank you for those little league baseball, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. You see all that raw emotion come out on that signing day. And I just like to sit in the stands. I'm never up in the front. I always like to sit back and just take the pictures from afar. And then I send it to them like later on, just because I like to see that raw emotion from those people. And you can like literally see it, man. They're looking at them babies. They got grandma, they got aunties, they got everybody sitting there and signing that piece of paper, bro. And then all that, where they were like this at first and they were ready to punch you and they're ready to sit there and get in fights with you and argue with you. And then all of a sudden that thing turns into tears.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, my baby get to go play. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Now it's like, hey, my baby go get an education. Like that's some of the stuff that, like, you know, that stuff right there is golden, man. I think that's the reason why you keep on. It feeds you, like it does something to your psyche to where like you want that more and more. And that one that gets away is always the one that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that one, especially this year. This year, we just been like going crazy, trying to figure out different ways and different avenues about trying to get people to experience that feeling, even if it's a preferred walk-on or whatever that it is. You know, like I dig that. So I agree with what Coach Mann said for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So it's coming up above almost over an hour now. So I have one last question, unless y'all have anything else you want to talk about or discuss. My question really is, because one of the reasons I started this is to highlight athletes and highlight kids that don't really get talked about a lot. And I know all three of y'all at your schools have big time guys that are going to be talked about. Coach Roby, you could start us off. Maybe name me some of those guys that are going to be, up and coming, to maybe those 22s, 23s that aren't really talked about that right now, but are going to be talked about or should be talked about.
I got a couple. I got Elijah Williams. Dad, Randall Williams, played in the NFL for a long time. He's a baseball player, but like he truly, truly loves football. I think he found a home this year. He's playing slot receiver. Everybody wants to be a receiver, but his ball skills, he also plays center field in baseball.
Yes.
His ball skills are like no other, and he turned into be a really, really good safety. You know what I mean? Where the fact that people were turning on that film and they're like, oh, I was here to look at Driver, but who is that? You know what I mean? He pops like that. And then I have Dom that transferred in for us. He's a big guard that we got. We're trying to figure out what Dom is gonna play at the next level, but he's gonna be one that pops just because he has he's just a big old athlete, man. I'm telling you right now, if I could put him back there and he could be my punt returner, I promise you, I would put him back there and he would catch everything. The rest of those guys, they just let it drop all the dang time and it pisses me off. You know what I mean? So, but Big Dom, I got Caden Taylor, also a transfer in. He plays tackle for us, but we're transitioning him to guard. He's gonna be a nice dude. And then I got a young boy that plays in the middle named Tristan De La Rosa. He still thinks that he's a baseball player, but he got multiple offers from football. But that first love, you know what I mean? Everybody go out there and hit dingers, you know what I mean? And he loved baseball gear and you know what I mean, all that type of stuff. I call it organized rest. You know what I mean? I can say that 'cause my dad played baseball, so that's a ongoing joke at the house. But those are a couple of guys, and we got some little pups. You know what I mean? But right now they're just pups. So I don't want to give them that shine because just in case they listen to this thing, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm it. Like I'm on this thing." Nah, big dog, you still got some work to do. You know what I mean? But those guys, I would say, are gonna be the ones that are gonna be the most eye-opening just because of their work ethic and they just got good pedigree, man.
Absolutely. Coach Shelby, you want to go on your guys over at Parish?
Yeah, man, we got a couple, man. I know you know.
I know you got a couple. I know you got a couple.
Well, man, we got a couple players over there. We ain't got too much.
Yeah.
I wish y'all could see this film because him and Coach Williams are sitting there smiling from ear to ear. I'm like, we got a couple. We got
no, man, we got we got Demery in the 23 class. Demery's a great kid. Could play everything on the back end and play receiver as well. He's already got his offers. But we have a kid, another sophomore named Aidan Gilmore. He was playing D-line and flipped over the O-line and finished the season at O-line. And he's playing guard. He Power 5, Doc. He one of the best pullers Cause he one of the best pullers I done seen, man. Kid 6'5", 280, and he run behind his pads, man. He's a big kid, like, and you could tell he's still learning. Like it's still new for him because he has always played deep. He's always played defense. He's never played O-line. So he knows how to hit people. He's just not sure where he's going. But shoot, man, hey, he a big kid, man. He legit 6'5". He got long arms. He's willing to learn. He works hard. He grinds with his trainer 2 or 3 times a week. His name is Aidan Gilmore. We have another kid that's a sophomore that plays linebacker and D-line for us, Jalen Wright, who's a big kid.
Yeah, I like him.
Jalen Hall plays tough, man. He plays linebacker. He loves the hit, man. He always compete. You can't tell him what he can't do. He gonna find a way. He drop down. He can play D-line, and linebacker. Then the 23 class. Then we got a rover, Cooper Malin, who's like 6'1", like 180. Cooper gonna be able to add about another 10 or 15 pounds before getting on high school. His dad is a strength and conditioning coach. Cooper Malin can play running back. He can play outside linebacker. He can play high safety. He a fun kid to watch run around, man, for the 23 class. So we got at least 2 or 3 guys in the 23 class. Then 22, if you didn't know who Blake Youngblood is, you know now.
That kid's stud.
Blake, number 1, in the slide running around getting work. And then Keegan Addison out of the 22 class.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a 4-year starter in all 3 years he's been in high school, over 125 tackles. The kid don't make no mistakes. We watching film and grading film every week, man, and he grading out 95%. He got one bust a half. Like he's a coach on the field. So man, we're gonna be all right, man. We lost a lot of seniors, but we're gonna be all right, man.
Yeah.
We just gotta find us a quarterback.
Yeah, that's my one question. I was trying to figure out who QB going to be next year, but I guess we got to wait and see, I guess. So, Coach Williams.
I mean, we got a couple of young guys there, but we'll see. That's a tough act to follow now.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Williams. I know you got T. Brooks.
Yeah. Right.
But one guy I really like is Caden Kittler, that O-lineman.
Yeah.
I think that dude's a stud. But yeah, you can talk about him and talk about those other guys, Cameron Robertson as well, but some other guys.
Yeah. So like you said, you mentioned Caden, and he played like U.S. little national hockey team as a goalie, so he got like skills, right? He's a dog in the trenches. I'm really waiting for him to kind of blow up this spring and get more offers. And then you got, like you said, Cam Robinson, our DN. He's 2022. As far as 2023. We had some 2023 dogs, of course, with Braxton Myers. He's going back to Capel. And then the 2023 DN we had was Kennedy McDowell, but he's gone back to Frisco, who I think, well, of course, Braxton has almost every offer. Kennedy has a few offers already, but like I said, they both left. But 2022 kid we have is Jackson Berry. He's a linebacker. This kid has maybe a speed of a safety, but he's 215 pounds. He can run, he can move, he can hit. He hits everything that moves. Almost still learning the position. Like I said, sometimes he hasn't played linebacker that long, but so as far as reading and things of that nature, but he has all the tools, right, to be like a superb linebacker, and he's an FBS linebacker. I tell you that. Like I said, he can run, he can hit. As far as like new age linebackers, everybody likes who can you don't have to come out the field, you can cover. That's him. But as far as 23s, I have to skip that class and go down to 24s. We got some 24 kids that can go. I would say William Nettles. He's a safety, receiver, a quarterback. He probably played quarterback. He's an athlete, right? He can throw, he can run. Wamil Talib, Aqib Talib's nephew. He's going to play linebacker. He's going to be a sophomore next year. The kid's pretty physical. He can play. Then we have a kid, Kavion Grady, who's slot returner, running back. Wherever you put him, he's gonna make plays. You get the ball in his hand, and he's just gonna make something happen out of it. So you can see Jump Hall has lost a few kids over the last couple years, right? But so we have a few. It's kind of a dip between 22 because there's nobody really in 23 left anymore. But it goes down to the 24 kids. So it's going to be a young team next year for us. But all the talent will be there for the next 3 years. So
Yeah, absolutely. Quick questions. Because of the big news that came out today, I have to ask you, Coach Roby, how is it over there at Argyle today with the future Hall of Famer now being, the head coach over there at Argyle Liberty? I got to ask it. Talk to me about it. How big of a deal is it for your school?
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal, man.
Yeah.
Anytime that you're trending on Twitter and on ESPN, I believe for the right reasons, you know what I'm saying? I think that's always a big deal. Yeah, we met with Coach Whitten earlier. I've coached his sons for the past 3 years in the middle school, so I've gotten a chance to know him. He's a good dude, man. Come from a coaching family. Not too many people know that. He got 2 brothers that are coaching high school football right now. His grandfather was a high school football coach, so his heart has always been in high school football. I think that, as you can see, if you turn down the Raiders and you turn down Tennessee, then if he picked his place, you know what I mean? Because they were bringing him that Dabo Sweeney money. You know what I mean? So if he turned down all that to come over here, then he really wanted to be here. How has it impacted us today? Hey man, all good.
Yeah, I got you. You don't gotta say nothing. Well, yeah. I'll wrap this up. I really appreciate y'all all coming on. Hopefully we can do this in the spring, in the summer, and yeah, thank you for your time.